Hello guys, how's it going? So, second video out of the three, the archetypes. Previously we had the humans, this time we have got the Nymph Units. The Nymph Units, again, as per, set 4 initially takes place after set 3. The Nymph Units realise that the aftermath of set 3 is going to cause the extinction of both them and the human race. So they decide to, the Queen was given the ability to traverse through time only in extreme cases such as this, and that puts them back at the start of set 1 to basically prevent Alto from returning, because Alto was the start of the whole mess. So that's their story in a nutshell. I'm not going to go into the humans because I've just done a long ass video on them, and that's basically the Nymph type units in the game. As a unit themselves, they are very self-sufficient. They kind of help each other out a lot. There's some really nice artwork. They've got a lot of action and abilities and stuff what help them meld. But initially, the units are very, very cheap to play. Not as cheap as the butterflies, but you know, they are relatively cheap. You're not really looking at anything more than a free cost unless it's the royalty rare. And there's a lot of abilities what help chain the units together. They all support each other. So we're going to get straight into this video, and we're going to start with, we have one collaboration. Well, she's technically classed as a fairy, but it's the same type of thing in my eyes. And that is Sasha. She has come from Battle Quest TCG with an enter ability, which says if the unit was ambushed into play, your opponent discards a card from their hand. So it's very, very useful. You can just throw the unit into play during battle and then cause your opponent to discard a card immediately. And then if you roll a 5 or 6, you get to look at your opponent's hand. So very nice. Okay, so moving on to the first major unit, which is a royalty rare Nymph unit, which is the queen, the big cheese basically of the Nymph race, which is Reyna. She's only 4 costs. It's probably the most expensive Nymph unit we've got, because obviously the humans in this are much higher, so this archetype is now lower. Costs 2 blue and 2 green. She's a 400 attack, but she does have a whacking 700 HP to basically clog the field up with. Love the artwork on it, and she is obviously the royalty rare for this arc. So when she enters, you get to roll a die. If it's odds, recover 500 HP to your core. If it's even, prevent the next 300 damage to each of your units this turn. So this is good if you want to try and get an all-out assault. Obviously she is there for health recovery to your core if you've suffered, or if you decide you just want to swing with everything and you want to try and create that buffer of HP for your fellow units, then rolling the even can prevent 300 damage, which can sometimes save. You know, if you've got 5 units out, that's 1500 damage your opponent has to deal on top to be able to kill the field, to kill your attackers. So she misses on a 1, however, with that miss, she recovers 200 HP to your core, so it's not a bad roll for 1. 2 is a hit, 3 is a hit, and recover HP to your core. So again, we're seeing much more health recovery already. A 4, you may play a relic card for free from your hand. If you happen to play relics, there is a few for the butterfly archetype. You can play them for free. A 5 is where it's at, draw 2 cards. You really want to be hitting a 5. And then a 6, prevent all damage to your units this battle. So really the 5 and the 6 are obviously your power rolls. You really want to get into a 5 or a 6 during battle. Preventing all damage to your units just basically means you've done the good thing in declaring your attackers off they go. They're immune to damage, they cannot be destroyed. So that is Reyna. That is the royalty rare unit for the nymphs. So moving on now, we've got Nymph Curator. Now this is probably the best artwork I've actually ever drawn, and I absolutely love the artwork on this, so I had to make this card a rare. She's only 3 cost, blue and green, same colours as Reyna. When she enters, search your deck for another Nymph unit, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So she basically gets to tutor for a card. Obviously Curator is basically like a librarian as such, which the tutor ability really follows with this style of card. Misses on a 1, hits on a 2 to a 5, and then 6, your opponent reveals a card from their hand. So there's nothing major, but you know, if card hand size is getting low, then obviously you've got that advantage on your opponent. Next up is Warrior Nymph. Now I do quite enjoy this one, and this is more of an assault style unit. It's only 2 costs. It's 2 green, or a green and a white if you wanted to. She has the ambush ability, which means you can just throw her into play during battle, and then on the attack, whenever she does attack, your other Nymph units in battle gain 100 HP this turn. So already there is the support for this type of unit. Misses on a 1, which is nothing. 2 to a 5 is a hit. 6 is a hit, and this unit gains 100 attack this battle. So if you can get a 6, she becomes 400 attack, and then whenever she attacks anyway, she gains an extra 100 HP, so she becomes 400. For a 2 cost, that's quite beastie. Next up is Ecstatic Nymph. Again, I love the artwork on this. 3 cost, so you know, again, it's under that 3 cost, well, it's on par with the 3 cost threshold. 4/4 unit, and it's got the link ability. The link ability, if you've got another Ecstatic Nymph out on your side of the field, and they both attack in the same turn, you get to draw a card. That is for each unit. So obviously you need them both out to play, to trigger the link, and if you attack with both of them, you get to draw 2 cards. Very nice. On a 5 to a 6, your Nymph units gain 100 HP this battle. So again, if she rolls a 5 or a 6, that's another HP boost for all of your Nymph style units, including itself. Next up, we have got the Firebreaker. So uncommon again, 3 cost. You can pay 3 green if you wanted to. Alternatively, you could chuck a bit of red and a bit of blue in there. 400, 300 units, so average stats. She's got a red ability, which means you can pay 2 red if you wanted to deal 200 damage to an enemy unit in play. Obviously, this is judging you're gonna start leaning towards the red elements. Does have a 1 in 3 chance of missing, so it's the highest miss rate we've seen so far. 3 to a 4 hit, but then if you get a 5 or a 6, you get to deal 200 damage to an enemy unit in play. So if you're lucky enough to have paid the 2 red for the 200 damage, and then you roll a 5 or a 6, that's 400 damage to an enemy unit. That's usually more than enough to take out a common or an uncommon unit for basically nothing. Then we've got a Nymph Mage, 2 blue. 3/3 unit, common unit. If you roll a 6, deal 100 damage to an enemy unit or core. So not too bad. I mean, for a common, you can't grumble at the stats, and she's got a nice little ability as well. Gardener, again, 2 cost, blue or green. 3/3. Not a massive fan of this artwork, but you know what you're gonna do. Reveal a card to generate an element that this stack could produce. The element is removed from play at the end of the turn. So basically you can reveal, if you're in desperate need for one more element of a specific colour, you can reveal a card. By all means, it could be a terrain card, which is going to be of no use to your opponent. And then you can generate a element what the stack could generate. So really you want to get this unit onto an element that can generate like a multicoloured element, which will help you. Then you've got Demoralize. This is an action card. This shouldn't be in this pile of units, but it's there anyway. And this is a very counter Nymph card. I really shouldn't have put it in this video, but it's here. So we're going to go through it. 3 cost. Any 1 unit in play now has 0 attack this turn. If that unit was a Nymph, destroy that unit. So again, it's very counter Nymphy, and it can be played during the battle phase as well, where it will just reduce a unit down to 0 attack. So make sure you get this card in before your opponent rolls. Gilded Nymph. Love the artwork on this one. Only made it an uncommon though, so it's 2 white or 2 green or a blend of both. 3/3 unit, and then on a 5 or a 6, your Nymph units gain 100 HP this battle. So again, it's another card that has a 1 in 3 chance of boosting your Nymph units by 100 HP. You know, if you can keep rolling 5s and 6s, then you know, it's going to be next to impossible to get your units destroyed during battle. Correction, let's just cut that little bit out. Nature's Nymph. Alright, so enter. You may keep any number of Nymph units in your hand revealed. This unit gains 100 HP for each. So you can have these cards out, revealed to your opponent, and this will set the HP for this unit to that number plus its base. So if you have 3 units revealed, then this unit's HP will become 400. Those units can then eventually get played, but that will not reduce the HP of this unit. It will basically stay at that HP limit. And then if you roll a 5 to a 6, recover 200 HP to your core. So a nice little bit of a health gain as well. So for one unit, for one element, you cannot grumble at that. And I do quite like the artwork on this one as well. Green Nymph, again, 3 elements, 300 unit. Whenever it defends, your Nymph units take 200 less damage during battle. So again, support unit, defensive unit. You do want to include this. Obviously the unit has to be declared as a defender to be able to make use of this buff. And that's it for units. Moving on to actions and weapons. I don't think we've actually got any weapons. So, 2 terrains. We've got Enchanted Arbor, rare terrain. This terrain will only generate an element if there's a nymph or butterfly occupying it. Nymph and butterfly units here cannot be targeted by enemy action cards. So this is obviously, if you're going to be running a deck with this archetype in, you will be rocking 2 of these in your deck. Well, you can only have 2 in your deck anyway, but you will have to have these 2 elements, so these 2 terrains in your deck. It's an amazing card. Obviously, it will be stupid to not include them in your deck. The other is Essence Forest. It creates 1 green element. Butterfly and Nymph units placed onto this terrain cost 1 element less to play. Obviously, that can be 1 element of any colour. So that will help you play more units onto that stack. Eerie Force, so for a blue and a red, bit strange having red, but we have had red in a previous cost. If you have a Nymph unit in play, this card costs 1 less to play. If you have a butterfly in play, this card is free. Enemy action card has no effect, so it's a nice little counter spell basically. Nymph's Screeches, so for 4 costs, this is probably one of the more expensive ones. For each Nymph unit you have in play, deal 200 damage to an enemy unit or the core. So this is going to be costing what? At a maximum 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 1400 damage to a unit or a core if you've got a full landscape of Nymph and or butterfly units. Nymph units. Exotic Mist, 4 cost. This is your wonder for this new archetype. Your Nymph and butterfly units gain 100 HP for each Nymph and butterfly unit you have in play. So this is going to be quite variable. The more units you have out, the more HP they gain. Obviously because they're relatively cheap to play, you shouldn't have a problem getting this out. Fantasy Necklace, 1 cost. It's a common. Equip unit gains 100 HP. If it's a Nymph, it gains an extra 100 HP. Flower Pollen, a relic. If the unit on this stack is a Nymph, it gains 200 attack. If it's a butterfly, it gains 200 HP. So it's not a bad all-rounder. It can affect both new archetypes. Magical Protection, 1 cost for an action or battle card. Your units in play each gain 100 HP. Your Nymph and butterfly units each gain 100 attack. So for 1 cost, you cannot grumble at that. And that's it. So we've got a nice handful of cards there. Let me know what your favourite cards are, whether it's the artwork or the abilities or something like that. And obviously they are very reliant towards themselves. The more you have in play, the more they up their little buffs between themselves. So it is a very interesting archetype, what we haven't introduced into the game before. So it would be really interesting to see how they play. And obviously the artwork on them, absolutely love the artwork, especially these first few as well. I love the artwork on it. It's whether you guys are going to make a deck with this or whether you're going to make something from a more older sets. It's entirely up to you, but be sure to let me know. Like I said, I'm very interested into your guys' opinions, positive or negative. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you've got any combos or any ideas or something like that, just let me know, guys. It's really nice just to have people commenting on and discussing the game and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway guys, I'm going to cut the video here, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to, if you've not already, liked and subscribed to the channel. So I will see you guys in one of my next videos. I'll see you later.